In 1956, Gerald Durrell wrote the book My Family and Other Animals. And he wrote that about his time as a child on the Greek island of Corfu. Well, this week I'm not on the Greek island of Corfu. I'm in the Welsh country of Wales. But I am on holiday, and I thought, well, it would be really nice to make a video about, you know, my travels and my travel with a particular handheld, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm in a place called Bodlewyddan Castle. We're actually staying in the castle itself, really inside the walls, but they've kind of built a hotel inside it. I say Bodlewyddan, I think that's how you pronounce it. It could well be Bodwellian, because there are so many Welsh words that are spelt XQZXYVW, and then they're pronounced Calfele, which is, it's a lovely sounding language. It's just a terrible one if you want to spell it. I mean, we saw something at the side of the road the other day. It said Llanfili. And Mum said, oh, we should look that up when we get back. I'm away with me, Mum. We should look that up when we get back. Maybe we could go there. Maybe it's somewhere nice. It's a landfill. Anyway, I brought the Odin 3 with me because, I mean, why not? And I've been sleeping on the Odin 3 for quite some time. But I bought a bed now, so I can actually start using it to play on. But no, I haven't been using this. I had it since February. It's been sat on the side of my thing waiting to be reviewed, whilst other handhelds have come in, and because those are new and those are releasing, those have been more important to talk about. I thought I would do a video diary of my time with the Odin 3. I'm going to call this My Odin and No Other Handhelds. There we go. And every night I'm going to either try out a new game, or I'm going to go back to the game that I was playing previously. There's no rules here. I'm on holiday. I want to just have fun. So the idea is to try out the Odin in a real world environment where I'm just sat having fun, playing the thing like I normally would do. I need to relax this week. And this video is just a way of me being able to relax and being productive at the same time, which I'm not sure is good for my mental health, but it's definitely good for my my current malaise, which incidentally is a very lovely sauce if you've never had one. Now, I didn't record anything last night, and I think what I'm going to do is have fun during the night, and then the following day I'll tell you about the game that I played. Last night, I was really tired because I had a really long day. We drove down, so I thought I must do something, you know, I mustn't record tonight. I must do something which is really nice. So I did sit down, and I did, to stop myself feeling all that stress of driving, I played a driving game. Now, I can't tell you which driving game, obviously, because there's a certain company out there who will sue me to buggery if I do. This is one of those times when a YouTuber has to find the name for something. Like I know Ryan Retro uses Little Prince has a ramble or something. So I thought, I don't know, I've got to come up with a name. Mario Andretti has a leak. Well, I played some of that anyway, and I actually really enjoyed myself. Good couple of hours just playing through those tracks. I'm very pleased with how far Switch emulation's come along on the Odin. When I first got it, it was fine and it worked, but there were problems, and there's been problems for quite some time, and it's this last sort of slew of drivers that have really pushed the Odin from being something where you can play Switch games and they're pretty good, to you can play Switch games and the emulation is actually very, very stable. There's still a few graphical glitches, and you can figure out which Turnip or Mr. Purple or Steven MX, any of those drivers you can use that might make it better. Some of them will. It's very, very, very playable. Even if you don't mind the odd graphical glitch, it is very, very, very playable. So that was night one, was me just playing that game. And tonight I'm going to be trying something I think completely different. I might try a PC game for a few hours. Well, I won't record anything now. I won't do anything now. All I'm going to do now is I will hand you over to tomorrow, Steve, and he's going to tell you about the game that I played tonight. Well, it's day 2, and we had a lovely day today. We went to a place called Bodnant Gardens, which is a National Trust property. National Trust, if you don't know, it's the opposite of the National Trust, because you have to support it instead of it having to support you. But it's a place that will preserve old buildings and things. And this was an old garden that was built originally in 1874. And it was built over like 5 generations, which is kind of like the Nintendo 64, you know? But it was a lovely ramble. We had a walk. It was like a 3-kilometre walk through these gardens where there's old trees, there's like old sort of water garden places, there's more trees, there's plants. Critically, there was somewhere to sit down every few hundred yards, so that was a benefit. But it was lovely. But anyway, on to games. So last night, I actually chose new Super Lucky's Tale, and it's the remaster of the Super Lucky game. So this is a 3D world where you move through it as this little character and collect coins, and you solve puzzles, and then you dodge any potential lawsuit by not doing anything that's connected to plumbing whatsoever. But it's a really lovely game. Now, this one that I was using was the game native version of it, and actually playing this on the Odin was a breeze. It worked pretty much straight out of the box, and I've been playing this actually on the Thor, so I've got a little way into it on the Thor, and I was able to download this, and I picked up from where I left off. The Odin honestly is completely overpowered for this. It just eats through this game without any problem whatsoever. So I had great fun, you know, bouncing around, collecting coins, collecting these magic pages for a book that you've got to fill up. It's a lot like being an employee at Waterstones. Or I should say Barnes & Noble if you're in the States. If you like platform games, I'd highly recommend this one. It's good fun. It's got some really nice puzzles built into it, little hidden areas and things that you can find stuff. And it is an awful lot like going back to, say, something like Super Mario 64, and then seeing where we've come to in terms of having these games and what you can now do with them. Tonight, I think I might want to do something a bit different. Tonight, I think I'm in for something a bit more narrative, which might spread over a few nights. We'll see what happens. I do have Prince of Persia on the PlayStation 2 with widescreen hacks, so that works perfectly for the Thor because that's a widescreen device. And I do have a few other options that are narrative based, so I'll have a bit of a relax, maybe have a bit of a drink, and then see what I choose a bit later on. So last night I thought it'd be great to play a narrative game, and I ended up playing Forza Horizon 2. I'll come to that in a bit, because I've had a lovely day. We've been on the Ffestiniog and something or other Welsh Highland Railways, and we went from Caernarfon all the way to Bodlewyddan, I think it's called. I'm terrible with Welsh names. I really can't do them at all. The ride was lovely. It was in a steam train. We had a nice carriage to ride in. There was pretty views of mountains outside the window. Brilliant trip. Really nice, and I didn't have to drive all day, which is something that I really appreciated. Partly because I was driving all night last night. Not all night. I spent a few hours on Forza Horizon 2 on the Xbox 360 using X360 emulator. It was fairly good. Now, I like Forza. I've been playing Forza Horizon 6 with my friends. I've logged over 100 hours in Forza 6. So it's one of those games. I've done 5, I've done 4. We've played a lot of these games before. And I just kind of like the whole driving game thing, the whole aesthetic. And Forza is probably my favourite of the lot because you can have a serious drive if you want, or you can just go crazy and destroy lots of things. Forza Horizon 2 was long before some of that stuff was implemented, although the sort of the bones of what we still think of as Forza are there. They're solid. They are what the rest of the franchise has been built on over time, which is quite cool. On the Odin 3, during free roam, it actually managed to hit about 29.9 frames a second. Now, if you know anything about Forza on the Xbox 360, it only reached about 30 frames a second. So having that on free roam was pretty good. It felt pretty accurate. But when you get into the instanced races, that's when things actually started to go awry, because it would hit 19.9 frames a second. Now look, it's still playable. I still had a lot of fun with it, but it's not as good and it's not as smooth as I would have liked to have seen. And that's not really the fault of the Odin. Really, that's the fault of the emulation, because Xbox 360 emulation is still very new. So in the future, I'm hoping that we'll start to see that increase, expand, other words that mean the same thing. And hopefully we'll get better Xbox 360 emulation. We've already seen a jump from the original Xenia to this new emulator. I'm actually pretty surprised that Xbox 360 was as good as it was. I know there's still games that don't play in it, so I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but you know, I didn't really expect it to run very well at all, and what I had was playable. It was enjoyably playable at that. Very impressed with that, very impressed with what we are able to do on the Odin 3 and what you're able to do with Xbox 360 emulation. So tomorrow night, well tonight in fact, again, I'm not sure what I'm going to play. I think I might have another go at some Forza, because a lot of the time that I was meant to be playing, I was fiddling around with the emulator, seeing if I can get a bit more out of it, and I couldn't. So I might do a little bit more Forza, but I don't just want to limit it to Forza, so there might be something else coming along as well. I will see you tomorrow for a bit of an update, and so you can see where we are. I've lost track of what day it is, to be fair. I think it's Monday, but last night I played a game that I wasn't really expecting to be able to play on the Odin. I'll tell you about that in a sec, because today we've been to Caernarfon Castle, which was built in the 11th century. And actually, it's the place where you would crown the princes of Wales. So back in 1969, Prince Charles became the Prince of Wales there. He was invested there. Of course, investments can go down as well as up. But anyway, even though this was a medieval stronghold, it turns out that the princess wasn't there at all. Apparently she's in another castle, and if that's the case, then she can stay there for all I care. As for games, the game that I've been playing was Spider-Man. Spider-Man Remastered, you know, and everybody says this is Marvel's version of the Arkham games, and I can see why they say that, because there's a lot of real world exploring and everything, and I did find the controls a little bit complicated. Now I've only played a little bit of it, so I only had an hour and a half on it, so I've got through the opening mission and the first two missions and things, and I really enjoyed it. It feels like an interesting game. Is it the second mission? You've got these little mini games where you've got to route circuits, and it feels like you're Peter Parker, because that was sort of the thing that he would do. You know, he does do the science bit as well. You get introduced to Otto Octavius pretty early on. Peter is great. He's there, he's working with the police, so there's the whole police thing happening as well. It's really good fun, and the web slinging, the swinging through the city is just fantastic. The only problem was the battery drain, because I found myself within about half an hour, I had drained about 30% of the battery. So that's like a 1% per minute. It's not particularly good. I haven't tried it with cluster tune on. I might do that at some point. Or Kai's got a new thing out, which I haven't brought with me, but I will try and load that on and then do a bit of a review of that at some point. Play this game when you're able to plug in, and you're perfectly fine. You know, it's not a problem at all. So what I'm going to do tonight is actually continue playing that game. But fantastic time, fantastic having the Odin around. I really am enjoying using the device, which I didn't think I would. I didn't think I'd feel that I would need that sort of power. But now it's playing those higher end games. It's stunning, really brilliant. Anyway, and just, was it yesterday? they release the new pricing. So if you're interested in an AYN product at all, and by the time this video goes live, it'll be too late for you to have seen it and to do anything about it. But if you get it now, you're going to be paying $10 more for every single unit they've got on there than you'd be paying at the time that I'm able to record this video. So hopefully you were able to get in when you could. If you couldn't, things like the Odin, things like the Thor, and even the Odin 2 Portal that was on sale has gone up by another $10. They're still worth the money that you would pay for them. They are absolutely still worth it. So if you had ideas about getting those and you weren't sure, still go ahead with it. It really is worth it. Anyway, I will let you get on. Well, actually, I won't. No, I'll let you get on to tomorrow, and then it's enough rambling from me. I did a bit of rambling, but it's not my thing, rambling, really. There's not enough loos around. I have to have a good loo handy. There was a good loo handy today, although, you know, it was engaged to an outhouse in Porthabelly, actually. It's Wednesday. We've had a lovely day today, and actually it's started to go off, which we knew it would eventually, but we should have another good day tomorrow. And we missed rain. I'm shocked that we've been able to miss the rain on these trips. Anyway, today we went on a little bit of a trip around the tip of Wales, not quite the tip, around the Snowdonia area. And we saw a couple of hills, we saw a couple of mountains, some of which were bathed in foggy cloud, which was quite nice. We got a few shots there, and we visited probably one of my favourite places in this part of Wales, which is the Lone Tree in Llanberis. And it's a place that I've been to before. I've shot it on more than one occasion, and I just love it. When it's still and empty, it is such a lovely atmosphere there. And I did get a shot. Not the first time I've taken a shot of the Lone Tree, but probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, won't be the last one either. And it was a bit unexpected as well, which leads me on to last night and my gaming activity, which was also a little bit unexpected. And I have to apologise before we start doing this, because I completely forgot to get any footage of it. Oh, why don't you record some footage now? I hear you ask. Well, you'll understand why in just a second. Because I came back to the room last night, we'd eaten, we'd had a nice meal at the hotel, and I've been gaming in the evenings. So my downtime of the day is to pick up the Odin 3 and to get gaming on it. And I thought, oh, well, I'll play Spider-Man again because I was really enjoying it. I wanted to get a bit more into it. Anyway, my friends were streaming, the people that I stream with on a Monday and Tuesday night. It was Tuesday night. And so they were there streaming, and I thought I will tune into that on my iPad. I will watch them, comment occasionally, and bring out the Odin and have a bit of a gaming session of my own on Spider-Man at the same time. And then a thought occurred to me. I could join my friends in the chat on Discord, and I could actually talk to them whilst all of this was going on, and we could have a good fun chat like we normally do on a Tuesday night. And then another thought occurred to me. I have in my hands a gaming device which is incredibly powerful, and an internet connection in this hotel which is better than the internet connection that I have in my house when I stream. And so I loaded up GeForce Now. Now, I don't have a GeForce Now account, so I had to go through all that rigmarole. Loaded it up, paid for a day pass, which has just run out. Get to that in a bit. And I was able to actually play on stream with my friends last night when they were playing Forza Horizon 6. I wasn't able to win any races. In fact, I performed much, much worse than I normally would do. And I think that's more to do with the controls and getting used to the feel of the Odin. The handheld gaming experience is not the controller experience. And I'm not used to the handheld gaming experience with that sort of driving game yet. especially in multiplayer. Because of that, and because it was all a bit impromptu, I don't have any gaming footage. And because I bought a day pass, and it is now the day is over, because we went out today and we had fun and we did photographing and stuff, I can't then do Forza. So I will find a way to fake the footage for you, just so I've got something to put over the top of this rambling. Now, technically, yeah, you could do that on the Portal, you could do that on the Thor, you could do that on practically anything. I mean, you can get the RP5 will do it, the Magmi Max, in fact, the Air X will do it. It's not the best chip out there for streaming, but it's pretty damn good. So you could do that on any one of these devices. The fact is, though, sometimes you want the power of the Odin 3 to play stuff, and sometimes you just want to do some basic stuff on it, like streaming or like playing a retro game. It doesn't matter. You've got that power there, and that actually is one of the things that I'm seeing as a major benefit right now. I'll leave that for a proper review. But until then, it's my final night tomorrow night. So I don't know what I'll be playing. I'll have to do all the packing and stuff as well. And the last thing that's going to go in the bag is going to be the Odin, I think, because I'll put that in, I suppose, phone and phone charger. But other than that, I think that's going to be the last thing that gets packed up, because I'll want to play it tomorrow night. I'll want to have a bit of gaming time before I go to bed. I think tonight is going to be back to Spider-Man, which means I've done Spider-Man for 2 nights. And then I think tomorrow I would like to do something, maybe start something a bit special, just a final night of the holiday kind of thing. And we'll see how that goes. But until then, I'll see you tomorrow, which is a few seconds for you, but it's like hours for me, and that's like time travel, isn't it? Well, this was the last day. I've come home, come to the hotel. You start to think of a hotel like your home when you're on holiday, don't you? Mostly because your mind goes when you're away. Anyway, today we went to Conwy, which is famous for Conwy Castle, which was built by Edward I, which is ironic because it wasn't the first castle that Edward built. But it's a lovely medieval castle. We didn't go in. We went there to see the castle, and we went there to see the outside of the castle. And apparently the princess wasn't in that castle either. She's in a holiday park in Wrexham or something. Well, she can stay there for all I care. Anyway, we didn't go inside because it's a lot of walking, and Mum couldn't handle the stairs and things like that, which is most of it. So we looked around Conwy town. There's a little quay there, which was really nice, some boats and things. And they've got the smallest house in the United Kingdom. It is a tiny, they say, one up, one down, to mean one room downstairs and one room upstairs. Well, imagine those rooms were the size of a shoebox. That's how small this house was. But anyway, we got some shots of the castle. We got some shots from across the water. The tide was out, so, we could have walked it. But no, we drove round. It was good fun. And this evening I'm packing. That is it. We're done. The last thing I'm going to be packing, of course, is my phone charger, which will be on all night, and my Odin 3, which I'll be playing this evening. I think I'm going to have a go at Prince of Persia on the PS2 tonight, because I think that'll be fun. That's got turnip driver support with the new Nether SX2 turnip. And I've got widescreen hacks on it as well, so that it's all stretched and fits on the screen. And I haven't really played it much. I think I've played about a minute of it. So that should be fun to just sort of play around with for a bit. Let's finish off by saying, how has the Odin been? Back in February, when I first bought this, when it first arrived, I should say, I couldn't have done this trip because it wasn't quite there. The support for it wasn't there. We have come on in leaps and bounds in terms of emulation, in terms of driver support, just in terms of what this thing can do. From a community standpoint as well, there's things like cluster tune, which change the game for something like the Odin, because suddenly you're able to put that raw power down where you need it, rather than having it limited to something that actually probably shouldn't have been limited to. So things have changed dramatically, and dramatically. It's too many Welsh place names. Things have changed dramatically. I'm sticking with it. And it's become an awesome travel companion, because it's not too big and it's not too small. Now, it's not small enough to be an everyday carry. You couldn't put this thing in your pocket and carry it around with you. You probably wouldn't want to. You could carry a bag, but if you've got other things to carry, like I've got my camera stuff, my camera gear as well, it's too much to take with you at the same time. It weighs you down more than it probably should do. But other than that, it's a good gadget to have in a hotel, in the place where you're staying, something that you can come back to and know in the evening, if you're not doing anything, that you can keep yourself entertained, even if you don't want to watch what's on the telly. So I've got a full review of this coming out at some point in the very near future. Haven't written it yet. And I think right now, my feeling is if you wanted to get an Odin 3, now's the time to really jump on that bandwagon, because I've got this feeling that it's just going to get better from here. It's like having a Steam Deck with you. It's not as good as a Steam Deck. I'm not going to pretend that it is. The Steam Deck can do an awful lot more. It's more powerful. But it is like having a Steam Deck, or like having an x86 handheld, not because of everything that it can handle, but because the sort of stuff that you'll be playing on this is wide-reaching and is exactly what you want from a device. It's not too big, it's not too cumbersome, but you can get away with playing Spider-Man Remastered. And you know what else I've got on here? I've got Baldur's Gate on here, and Hogwarts Legacy is on here as well, and they play pretty well. There's a lot of games on here, or potentially there could be. Mouse PI is another one of them. And of course, you can get anything which is indie will pretty much run on here. Mina the Hollower I had running on here the other day. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this, a lot more than much of many of the other Android handhelds. And that's why you'd want to pick this up, because you want more of a PC experience when you take something away, but you don't want something the size of a PC that you've got to lug around with you to the hotels. So that's it. As I said, I'm going to do a full review of this thing because there are other things I haven't touched on yet. And if you want to see that, please do subscribe. And whilst you're down there, why not leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know what you think of this little travel vlogumentary that I've been doing over the course of the week. I nearly didn't do anything at all because I meant to be on holiday. But then I've got cameras here and I had an Odin 3 and I thought, why the hell not? Hope you've enjoyed it anyway. Until then, thank you ever so much for watching. Do stay tuned because I've got lots of new reviews coming up. There's at least one device which I've been sent, which is brand new and I'm very excited about. There's another device which I hope the review is coming out this week from when you're seeing this, which is the review I'm going to be working on this week, should be out following Saturday. That one is incredibly exciting because it's a new controller, but it's something that I'd never seen before. Nobody's been reviewing it. I think the embargo lifted actually a couple of days ago. So this is fairly new stuff, and it is a really, really nice controller. So I'm looking forward to telling you all about that. And yeah, lots more things to come up on the channel as well. So do stay tuned to that. Plus, I'm going to try and go full time from now on. So this is going to be, with any luck, my full-time job. I've got a few things I need to try and sort out. If you can join Patreon and give me some money every month, a little bit of support every month, that would be amazing. That would really, really help. But if you can't, of course, that's fine. And I'm going to try and keep these reviews and things completely free. I also want to try and do a bit of members content if I'm doing this full time, but we'll see how everything fits together in the coming months. But thank you for paying attention. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video and seeing the update as well as all the other stuff, because this, I'm guessing, is going to be a fairly long video. But thank you for coming along on this journey with me. There is more journey to come, so therefore, stay tuned. And until next time, happy gaming.